All right, so moving along here, a program that we literally just mentioned a couple days ago. We're talking about Henry Ollinger committing to them. Indiana, big fans of what Coach Cignetti's doing over there, and we said, look, Ollinger was commitment number 2. For this class, would expect things to get rolling, and that's exactly what happened. Is Casimir Hicks, top 5 player, top 3 player in the state of Indiana, cornerback from Decatur Central in Indianapolis, is staying home and going to play for the Hoosiers.
And Indiana had done so well with South Florida defensive backs, right? When you talk about D'Angelo, Pons, Sharp, all those guys, but now keeping it local in Indianapolis, Indiana, Decatur Central High School with Casimir Hicks, 5'11", 170, offers from Illinois, Michigan State, Northwestern, Purdue, Wisconsin, a couple SEC schools like Missouri. So this is someone who had broad interest, ranks as number 41 cornerback, probably the high 3-star range. We'll see if he can get into the 4-star range with a good season. But he really is a guy that took notice of the turnaround. Someone who grew up around the Indiana program, being an Indianapolis native, and he saw the change of perception, right? He said the coaches being new and coming in and turning a program around so fast shows just how good of a coaching staff they are. He said it's not easy to turn around a program that fast. To go from 3-9 to 11-2 and make the playoffs is incredible. Obviously it is. And Pete, as you pull up the film on this guy, you look at the just total production, offense, defense, special teams, state championship at Decatur, 4 interceptions on defense, 2 for touchdowns, also returned 2 kicks for touchdowns, ran the ball, caught 13 touchdowns receiving. This is an all-purpose type of athlete. And when you're looking at the cornerback position, I like guys that are so athletic that you can't just put them at an island and say, play corner. Because at high school level, that doesn't help you as much as it does at other levels. You have an athlete like that in high school, you want them catching, you want them returning, you want them doing all the things that we're seeing here on the state.
And Hicks was not the only pickup that Indiana actually had on the day. As Jacob Savage, linebacker, as well, committed. I'm going to pull up his page here, and he's another top guy in his state. So a top 5 player in the state of Kentucky. And listen, you want to be able to keep these guys. It's not in your home state, but if you can get top 5, top 10 players in each state, I mean, you're on the right track.
No doubt. And look, we were talking about Aiden Fisher the other day, trying to replace him. You added Henry Ollinger at running back / linebacker, looking more like a linebacker. We did a video on that one. If you haven't seen it, by the way, Indiana fans, like and subscribe. We've been doing Indiana content ever since we started this channel. Just love what Cignetti and the boys are doing up there. Fernando Mendoza, a guy we've watched since high school, excited to watch his career develop. But did a video on Ollinger, who's kind of that running back / linebacker who can do a lot of things, trying to replace a Aiden Fisher, who was also an offensive player in high school. Then you look at Savage, 6'1", 219, Ryle High School in Union, Kentucky.
Another guy who plays both sides of the ball.
Yeah, Pete, pull up some film on Savage here. But I think with Indiana, you're not always going to get the biggest and fastest players. That you're getting bigger and faster, but you're not always going to get that type of player just because Ohio State is there, Notre Dame's there, Penn State. Just this is the reality of the college football world. But what you can do is get versatile, good football players who are not afraid to be coached. And that's what they took from James Madison, and that's what they're doing here. Look at the ability and coverage here. This is something that I think separates linebackers at the high school level. So you're trying to make the transition to college. You can't just be a guy that has some hard hits, does a bench press on your high school video. You have to be able to be fluid and make plays in the passing game, particularly when you got teams. You got Bryce Underwood you got to deal with. Notre Dame now is becoming more of a passing-oriented offense. Ohio State, say no more. They are a passing attack like no other. So you got some really good passing attacks in the Big Ten. Oregon's going to pass the ball. You need linebackers that can match up with those talented safeties. And this guy right here, you see the click and close ability, the speed. They've done a really, really nice job on defense. Most of those guys, again, were guys they recruited at James Madison that ended up being stars for them, like Kamara and Fisher. But you got to keep that going, and that level of evaluation and just eye for talent and eye for system fits that you had at James Madison carried right over to Indiana, because all the guys they pick up, they just seem to have more athleticism than you think, great instincts. I mean, look how fast he sees it and attacks. This is a pure linebacker projection, not someone you have to worry about moving up from edge. Sometimes you see with these bigger guys are playing edge and you say, okay, they'll be a linebacker in college. Doesn't always work that way. This is someone who's playing college, can read, react. And when he sees it, he trusts his eyes. He gets downhill in a hurry.
Yeah, so love what Indiana's doing right now on the recruiting trail. And again, now in the last few days here have picked up a few guys. Rodney White actually also committed yesterday on the defensive line as well. So 3 commits here for Indiana in 2 days. And then going back to Henry Ollinger earlier in the week, now 4 commits on the week for the Hoosiers. So great run here for Indiana. And like we said earlier in the week on the Ollinger show, and you kind of just alluded to, don't expect these classes. I don't expect these classes to be top 20 classes consistently, top 25 classes, but you hit on the right evaluations and you coach these guys up, which we understand that coaching staff has trust in their abilities to win with, whatever they've got, so to speak. And you're going to be on the right path.
And by the way, as you know, Pete, because we did a million videos on these guys over the winter portal haul, these guys did some incredible work in the portal as well. Now, these players, these high school players, you're not going to see them until the 26th season. But what Indiana did in that winter portal window is going to give them a chance to keep the pressure on. You talk about the offensive line with guys like Pat Coogan, right? Holden stays at tight end. Obviously, Fernando Mendoza, who we love, Mekhi Jackson.
Roman Hemby at running back.
Oh, yeah. Big, fast. They've been doing some serious work. Amarian Knighton, another South Florida defensive back, who I think is going to fit right in with guys like Pons and Sharp. They did some serious work, and excited to see where this develops with Indiana. I don't think this is a one-year fluke.